Hello all, this is my review of the Lifan KPM200. I've had this bike for about a little less than a year now, coming up this October here. Frankly, I absolutely love it. It was my first motorcycle. Before that I was riding dirt bikes and some motorized bicycles. I was really into e-bikes, so this was kind of the next logical, step up. And I mean, for the price, you look at e-bikes, they're going to be like $3,000. This was $3,000 shipped to my door in the state of Oregon. I paid for about $370 for registration. That includes plates. Those will last for about 4 years, I think. Tires are about $25-30 a pair, depending on what you get, per. And then the bike itself, I mean, absolutely amazing. Not just for the price, but, at the MSF course, I was riding a Suzuki Van. And I'll tell you, the quality in terms of that bike and this bike, it just does not compare. This is really, really well made. Everything here is nice. The paint coat has held up really well. You've got a nice little latch here for the locking fuel cap, which still feels great. The bars are a little bit beat up. That's on me. I tried to flip them, do like a lowered cafe racer look because I was too cheap to buy clip-ons. That's what I get. And, it's dumb, but the key. I absolutely love the key on this bike. It looks amazing. People kind of wonder, what is it? Which is awesome. Turn signals, people say they hate them. I love them, mainly because they're floppy, which is great. So if you do manage to hit something, or when I'm backing out here instead of hitting my car, they just kind of wobble around a bit, which is great. And then in terms of the actual bike itself, so like I said, I've had this for about a year. The reliability it's been fantastic so far. You go ahead and, you've got your standard controls here, left side, got your high-low beam, and then you also have a passing light, which is great. The annoying part about this bike is the high beam is incredibly focused forwards. You can barely even see a turn on right there, but it is really, really focused in a direct point. And you can see very little aside from that. And when you turn on that high beam, you lose almost 30 degrees of visibility on both sides in a dark road. So what I've found is the best way to go about this is, instead of using your high beam, if you're trying to take a corner and you're less familiar with it, I keep it on the low beam and I hit the high beam at the same time, so you get both. And I wish that was the way they came from the factory, but I kind of get why they did this. It's standard. The horn, it's actually pretty decently loud. Doesn't sound horrible. I've heard worse. You can see the only aftermarket thing I have on here is my phone holder here. This space right here, I tried with a couple mounts. I was hoping to center it, but it's just narrow enough with these little extra stylized grips here that you can't quite fit a phone mount in there, which is fine. It's just nitpicky. The mirrors, too, they're bar ends. Some people say they hate the way they look. Honestly, this bike, I like it. And then the big thing, too, is it fits the silhouette on the tank there. And I kind of like having a bike that front end wise looks the same as it does on the paint job. And there's your KP Master. This is a 2020 model year. Comes with the stock exhaust still. Everything's stock on this bike. The only thing I've done is that phone mount. Put about 4 quarts of oil in it in the 3,000 miles that I've had it. Other than that, it's been pretty much maintenance free. Let me go ahead and show you what she sounds like here. And I bought this from Venom Motorsports USA. They're a dealership, ironically enough, located in Ontario, I want to say. But they're up in Canada. They ship it to you from here. You pay nothing for the shipping. It's included in the price. I know SRK Cycles has the 2021 for $3,200. So if you're looking for a deal, the service with Venom has been amazing. When I got this bike, actually the left mirror broke when I dropped it. And I just kind of told them, hey, when I got the bike, it wasn't quite there. And they just sent one back, no questions asked. So I kind of defrauded them. I feel bad, but at the same time, the support's been great. So they're definitely someone, I like them. I think you'll like them too if you go for them. But without further ado, let me go ahead and fire up the bike and you can hear how it sounds here. Like I said, I absolutely love the view from the front. I think it looks phenomenal. Then if we go ahead and fire her up, we're in neutral. We do have a neutral light right there. Gauge cluster is the neutral light. You'll see the tack in a second here. You do have a fuel gauge and you do have a gear indicator. So turning her on. idles about 1500 RPM. Right now it likes to stay around 2000 while it warms up. And if you need to, you kick it a little bit on the revs there and you get it back to about 1500. A lot of people crap out on the exhaust. They say they don't like the way it sounds. They put a aftermarket pipe on there. To be honest, I don't mind it. I think it sounds pretty decent. This is a cold start, so I'll give it a second before I rev it up or anything. Tires there, they're still the stock ones that I've had for about a year. They're decently grippy. They've held up well. You can see we've got some road style chicken strips on there, which is to say not much. The lean angle on this bike is not fantastic. The pegs are located pretty far down. They do have a little peg scraper on them. So ideally you'll hit that first. And when I have scraped peg, it's been no problem at all, like most bikes. The big thing you do need to watch out for though on this side is before you scrape peg, you're actually gonna get the edge of this exhaust here. And if you take a look, right in there, that's the first thing to touch the ground. So when you are leaned over pretty deep in a corner, that's gonna hit first, and that does not bend. So if you do hit that, you better right yourself or slow down fast, because if you lean any further, you are gonna kind of lose control. It's gonna lift the front or the rear wheel up, and it's just not good. That's never happened to me in terms of, losing stability. The bike tracks amazing. Other than that, if you're getting into it and you're not trying to ride like a street Rossi every single day, 99 times out of 100, you're never gonna once notice it. And once you know where the limit is, it goes away. That was really only an issue for me in the first 6 months of ownership. Like I said, I've had it for about a year now. Put about 3,000 miles on it now. I've done all the required maintenance things. The next thing that's coming up here is gonna be a valve job. For a while, I was a little worried about it, but it's held up. And I thought it was losing power. That was just me getting used to the bike. It's had the same amount of power it had when I first got it, a little bit faster even. When I first got it, I was doing maybe 70 max. I brought it up comfortably to about 75. I would not want to go any more than that. I think the most I've ever done was about 82 on a downhill. Anything less than that, though, is more than fine. Otherwise, everything's held up really well. Yeah, this is just a quick overview. Long-term review has been absolutely great. Put the oil in when you need to, and the manual's got a decent service interval that's fairly long. And then you're pretty much golden. Like I said, it's been 3,000 hassle-free miles. I pretty much fill gas in it and go every day. I've used it to commute from work. It's been in the rain. I'm still running the stock chain that came with it, which probably needs to go. Stock sprocket and everything. There's a pretty forgiving push drive in this wheel here, so when you do actually pull hard on the throttle, it's pretty smooth. The fueling's pretty aggressive, so when you hit the gas, it does tend to pull pretty hard. It's jerky. Even if you're going real gentle, there's a couple times where you still kind of go, damn. And that's fine. Some people really like that crisp feeling. For me, I wouldn't mind if it was a little jerkier, but you can smooth that out with the clutch pretty easily. We'll do a ride review pretty shortly here, at least if I can figure out a way to hold my phone up or get a GoPro. But in terms of the actual bike and the ride quality itself, like I said, it's been fantastic. For $3,000, I mean, you were either looking at an e-bike or a used Grom. This thing's gonna go on the freeway. It's not gonna go fast on the freeway, it'll do it. You're gonna be able to hit highway speeds and you're gonna be able to keep up with traffic just fine. For those wondering, 0 to 60 times, they're about 9 to 10 seconds. So again, not fast. Also very cheap. And for the price, it looks great. This thing turns heads. When it's parked in a lot at like bike night, people look. Even people who aren't into bikes look. And that's kind of the benefit, is this thing's a head turner. And it kind of looks, I've had people call it a Husky. I've had them say it kind of looks like a monster. I don't see that necessarily. I see the Husqvarna though. It does seat 2 people. It's a little cramped. I'm 6'3", my girlfriend's 5'2". We fit. It's just a little tight. They do make a backrest for it. And then, of course, you do have the rear pegs. In terms of the weight carrying, though, both of us on it, not an issue at all. We got on fine. These are real workable clamps. When you do have to take the bike off, you do have to pull them off. Some people don't like them. You can actually remove these pretty easily. It's just the 4 bolts there, and underneath the tank, they basically just sit in. So it's pretty easy. Same with the seat. There's only 3 bolts to get that off. It's not the standard style of mounting the seat, so if you do need to change it out, be wary of that. You might have to fab something up. Otherwise, though, again, just the styling on this bike. The rear lights are fantastic. It's got this kind of like faux neon rear light look to it. The front's got that massive LED strip. That's just the running light. You can see the actual light underneath that. It's all LED, so nothing should burn out anytime soon. This isn't real carbon fiber, as you can imagine, but God, it feels like it. It's awesome. You know, for the price, again, $3,000. You could get a Grom, you could get an e-bike, or you can get this. And then, you know, the big thing people are worried about is the reliability. This is damn reliable. You can see here on the revs, we rev up to about 9,500 RPM. I've taken it past redline a couple times. My big fear with that is, I know Small Engine Velocity Caesar over on his channel, he had a KPR that he took past redline on accident. I think it was an accidental downshift or something. It did fuck up the valve clearance. So doing that, you do have to be careful. But, you know, in my experience, it's been hard to do that. There is no hard rev limiter, so keep that in mind. You are sacrificing a few creature comforts. However, in my opinion, most of that's outweighed with the sheer tech that's in this dash. You've got, you know, your full odometer there. Nice speed. You can change this from kilometers an hour to miles per hour really easily. You just hold down the left button, and that'll show you on either side here. The fuel gauge is pretty accurate. If you're on your side, obviously the tank's full right now, so it's showing 1 bar less than it would normally. But once it's upright, you know, it's really accurate, which is great. Lifan quotes about 102 miles to the gallon. If you're running it hard, and it's a tiny bike, so you will be, realistically, you're running probably closer to 85. I still go in and I fill up for about $8 here, and gas is like $4 a gallon. You do want to put premium in this bike. You can put 87, but I don't know. I haven't had a problem. There's been no pinging or anything. But just keep in mind that, you know, this bike doesn't have all the creature comforts of like a big 3, so you're losing a rev limiter. I don't know how much you want to trust the ECU. But in my experience, it's been really good. I fill it with premium. I give it oil every now and then. It doesn't drink a lot of oil, so I just change it out when I need to. The drain plug's accessible, and I just kind of go. I don't want to piss off my neighbors too much here, but I'll just show you really quick what it sounds like higher in the revs. So we're at 2,000. Now we're at 5,000. And then we're at 8,000. So that gives you an idea of kind of how it sounds. It sounds pretty decent. People give it crap. I don't mind it, actually. As a stock pipe, there's much worse out there. So I like it. It's a decent bike for the money that I paid. You know, I can't recommend it enough. Let me know in the comments if you want to see anything more specific. Oh, the last thing I'll touch on, because I know people were curious about this. The front shocks are non-adjustable. The rear mono shock is. If you look in there, all you need is a basic shock spanner, and you can go in there and adjust. There's 5 levels of preload adjustment. I'm 250 pounds. I have it on the max preload adjustment. It rides perfectly for me. It doesn't bottom out in the rear, doesn't bottom out in the front, and when I take corners, it hugs them real nice. So if you're looking for a cheap bike, you want something that's going to turn heads and run, honestly, this thing's got the build quality of the big 3, but half the price. So, again, I love it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see any more. I can answer questions for as long as people need. Take care.